From being known as the hothead of golf to loving the live a little too much. Here's why people hate Jon Rahm. First off, he's a little controversial again, and for that, fans are pretty upset. After a fabulous start to the 2023 season, he again delivered another dazzling performance at the Genesis Open. The Spaniard is leading the competition by 3 strokes ahead of the final round, so you can bet there's another trophy on the cards. But all that's been ruined because he was the toast of the town in the golf community, and not just because he's been escaping some rulings, but because he's happy about it. He was comfortably at the top, but then he was also relieved of a soft ruling in a recent play.
I don't think they had tracer technology either, David.
No.
This is brought to you by Lexus, the official.
This incident happened at the par 4 third hole, where players have gone for some interesting tee shots with high hopes, and so did the 28-year-old golfer. But he ended up with a poor drive that landed in no man's land, while people who were watching suggested the place to be a parking lot. The ball landed in one of the staging areas for equipment, which, in case you didn't know, is also called the TIO, Temporary Immovable Obstruction. This area is supposed to be clear on most days, but when there are games, it has tents, scoreboards, grandstands, television towers, and etc. If normally he'd hit the ball there, it would have been a problem, but it wasn't. He was relieved of the possible crisis with a free drop, and fans were not happy. In fact, they were furious on the internet. They groaned at the level of severity of the ruling, and were convinced that the Spaniard would have been stuck had he played out from the TIO area.
Was 6.
In which Rahm saved his par eventually. I'll go a little deeper into the Twitter rage, because what's the fun when you don't scroll through any angry tweets? One netizen couldn't believe that he got a TIO relief after he hit a dinger into the parking lot. Yeah, many of them couldn't believe it, and many people agreed with the tweet. They said the ball was in the parking lot, and he was 3 off the tee, and when they looked at it the next time, Rahm was on the fringe looking at a birdie. How is that even possible? So now he's 1-0 with a major title, and getting free drops from TIO fences protecting parking lots? Ridiculous. It should be considered out of bounds. Apparently, TIO relief has been a joke for a while now, bombing drivers 50 yards off the property and being rewarded with a sweet drop just off the fairway.
That is up the left side and cutting, trying to find the fairway.
That's smoked.
Not everyone has been able to stomach the unfairness, but what makes people hate Rahm for this controversy is that he doesn't feel like he should have been punished. When the play ended for the day, he was asked to reflect upon the incident. Turns out he also believed it was 99.9% a TIO, but he took advantage of the rules and hit a provisional, at least. When asked whether he should have been punished with a harsher ruling, Rahm let his thoughts out. He said about the TIO, they needed that for the tournament.
It's firm, it's fast, and it's blowing 30 miles an hour. It's a very difficult golf course, and for most of the day I managed to hit this as the last 5 holes.
He continued that on a regular day, there's nothing there, and he would be able to play his golf ball from where it was. So no, he didn't deserve a harsher ruling, according to him. The 2021 US Open winner was least bothered by the incident and showed a masterful performance to shoot 6 under par. This score has put him on top of the leaderboard, and fans can't help but notice that he was given an unfair ruling, and that it's not nice that the other players wouldn't be treated the same way.
You have to deal with it. Clearly, I never had it on the greens, never had it off the tee, right? Didn't make any putts, really.
On top of that, he had no remorse. He doesn't care. But there's more where this came from. His utter selfishness isn't the only reason he's not liked within the golfing community. In fact, he's grateful that the Live Golf is filling his wheelbarrow with cash. Okay, I admit it, there's no one who doesn't like money. I do, you do, and everyone loves it. But to compromise your integrity so you can have more money isn't very noble, and something that's not appreciated by many people. There are arguments that people complaining about Live Golf are those who don't have money, and they go behind the mask of integrity to hide their jealousy. While I don't know what the truth is,
to play for a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, those greens have quite a bit of slope for the most part, and then yeah, you have those Bermuda greens where once they get dry enough, the grain is not doing as much as it usually does.
I do know that Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm are unpopular because of it, and they've both admitted that. The huge hike in prize funds on the PGA Tour wouldn't have happened if the Saudi Arabian Tour had not thrown money at the Rebel Live Series. I mean, the prize reward was a record $21 million at the recent Players' Championship. That is a huge jump.
Jon Rahm giving it a go at the short. 14th. 292, and he likes it.
Weren't they more about talent and honesty and stuff before Liv jumped in? The tour has even responded by creating 14 elevated events this year, worth at least $18.38 million each. It was designed so more players won't leave for the Liv, and McIlroy believes it. He's a staunch PGA golfer.
Left for an eagle.
Now at 13, the second shot for Rory.
Pretty good line.
Rahm, of course, is romping it up by agreeing with him. The Spanish star asked people where was the spark for all these innovations before the Liv. It's because of Liv that they're trying to retain players.
Not that foreign. It's just difficult. Like I said, I don't feel like I played that terribly. It's just, some narrow targets out there.
They're scared they're also gonna leave them for more money, and they're gonna be left with mediocre players. So he, without a doubt, believes it's all because of the Saudi-funded league. To an extent, they should all be thankful that the threat has made the PGA Tour want to change their style. He also wished it hadn't come from the PGA Tour being under fire from somebody else to make things better for the players.
Taking it in low, carrying it past the flag. Should have some spin on it.
And if it weren't for the controversial league, they wouldn't have seen any of that. He came under fire for saying these things from people who believe Liv is Satan in disguise. And maybe you don't agree with him, maybe you do. But the fact remains that Rahm doesn't care what he says in front of anyone, and he's made his feelings very clear about the American Express being a putting contest. He had one frustrating week from tee to green by his high standards as he recorded a tie for 14th, and the player isn't too happy with the easy conditions at the Amex. Oh, and not just not happy, he just went ahead and started cussing his pants off. He was heard saying awful things as he stormed off a green during the final round.
Yeah, another beauty here, right down the center with a slight cut. Catch that.
He didn't know that a fan was recording him as he walked past them, so everyone formed their opinions regarding the guy, and they weren't very nice. Nobody likes a hothead, right? Especially not in golf. That's supposed to be a gentleman's game. When he was asked about the video that went viral, he said, "What reaction? I mean, the video's pretty self-explanatory. So, no remorse?" A little. He did say that he's upset that despite being some of the best golfers in the planet, they're playing a golf course where missing the fairway means absolutely nothing. But he also said that he would have toned down his language had he known he was live, but he was just letting off steam, and people weren't supposed to be listening. I mean, sure, because you didn't say it in front of hundreds of people. Just like you and me, not many people were amused by this statement. Well, that's all I got on why people hate Jon Rahm. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Who's at 14 under?